Nintendo needs to get on this, and we need to see this in a Pokemon game. Wouldn't that be quite? It makes sense, right? Why wouldn't? So if you get beat by this trainer, right? Like, and this trainer just goes on, he just dominates everybody. He's this firebrand coming up, like you are in most of the Pokemon games. Why wouldn't you be going training up and then trying to counteract how you beat this guy before, and then this trainer comes up? That would be cool. Like, hey, I finally found you again. Your paralysis will no longer work on me. The
Elitist
pizza.
podcast. Did you hear about what was it? WB Games. They're patenting their I believe it's called their Nemesis system or whatever.
No.
Do you know? Are you aware of what the Nemesis system is?
No.
So, have you played Middle Earth: Shadow of War or Mordor? Either one?
No.
So basically, it's actually really cool. It's actually really cool, because I play these games a lot. It gives the game so much replay value. So basically, it's a system in the game where it could be any enemy in the game. It could be like a little slave character or like a boss character, right?
Okay.
And basically they'll remember the actions of the player, right? So let's say you fight this little slave dude, and for some reason he doesn't die. You think you killed him and he doesn't die. You could be on a whole nother mission a couple days from then, and he'll run up to you one day and he'll be like, "Ranger, you thought you killed me, but my brothers, they sewed me back together." And then you gotta fight that. And then you gotta fight that guy.
That's cool.
Or if you kill somebody's brother, they'll come out and fight you, or they'll just always remember kind of what you do, and like the world is kind of built around that. So like a legend will actually build around that character. So they'll be, let's say you you burn them. They'll look like kind of deformed. They'll be like the burned or something.
Oh, I see.
But and it's like
that's cool.
And the way it's really cool. The way it works in the game too is your character's like undead. So if you lose to that orc, they will become more powerful, and they will actually rise in the ranks in like the hierarchy. So they'll actually become more powerful and have more influence.
So that's pretty much what it's just. It helps to make the world seem like a breathing, a living, breathing thing that exists independent of the player.
Right, and it's amazing because it gives the story in these games are mediocre. The gameplay's fun, don't get me wrong, but this is what really brings people back because they give the orc so much personality. And just this system of like, I remember I was watching a friend of mine stream. He started the stream and this orc was like, "Ranger, you thought you killed me, but you didn't." And he was like immune to stealth because when you try to kill them a certain way and they come back, they're immune to whatever you did last time.
Oh, okay.
So he was
Makes sense.
he was like immune to stealth, right? And then so the guy, he was like, "Oh, whatever," and he threw him off a ledge, and then he thought he killed him, right? And then like 30 minutes later in that same stream, the dude comes out again and he's like, "You thought you killed me. You can't. You can't kill me, Ranger." He came back like 3 times.
That sounds cool.
It makes it's actually really cool. It gives the game so much replay value because one, the orcs have so much personality. They're just really funny. And two, it's just like you never know when somebody's about to pop out. Like I was doing a story mission and I killed this guy like literally it was like a week ago and I didn't even remember his name. And I was trying to do like a stealth mission and trying to like assassinate these 2 other orcs. They're like fighting each other, so I was gonna like take them both out. And then he pops out the corner. He's like, "Ranger, I have found you. I have searched forever. I finally found you." And I was like, "Oh, brother," and I had to fight all 3 of them. But I think
sounds cool.
But what do you think about them patenting the technology? I've heard that people say it's a bad thing, but I honestly don't think it.
From a business perspective, of course it makes sense.
Right.
Maybe it means that they're going to exploit this and make more games with it. But as you were describing it, I had this brilliant idea, dude. Nintendo needs to get on this, and we need to see this in a Pokemon game. Wouldn't that be quite? It makes sense, right? Why wouldn't? So if you get beat by this trainer, right? Like, and this trainer just goes on, he just dominates everybody. He's this firebrand coming up, like you are in most of the Pokemon games. Why wouldn't you be going training up and then trying to counteract how you beat this guy before? And then this trainer comes up. That would be cool. Like, hey, I finally found you again. You know,
And then
your
yeah,
paralysis will no longer work on me,
right. And
or
if you
whatever.
lose to him or whatever, and then he could like rise up in rank, so maybe he becomes like a gym leader
Yeah,
after he beats you,
exactly.
and you're like a certain level, and you've already beaten a couple gym members. He takes your gym badge.
Yeah, he takes. Yeah, it's exactly because why? Because what? Like you're the only trainer going out trying to steal people's dim badges? No, people are gonna be coming for them badges, especially when you beat the Elite Four. And so you could just
Right.
keep playing it, and then eventually everybody's like level 100. Then it gets real strategy when people who have the same amount of levels come after you. I mean, maybe if you have some legendaries, that's fine. But people are going to be trying to. I mean, I don't. I think in some of the Pokemon's they deal with the idea of stealing the Pokemon's, like in XD, Pokemon
Right.
XD. But people are going to be wanting those legendaries. So I feel like a Pokemon RPG would be such a cool idea. So you could have that, right? But then, like, why wouldn't there be journalists like, he has the famous Lugia? Tell us what it was like, and then you could like have like a dialogue tree about like, get out of my
Oh,
face.
dude,
I think this would
that'd
be
be
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
I think,
Thanks.
and another really interesting thing about WB Games is they're making the next Batman game. They need to
Mm-hmm.
find a way to incorporate this into the
Oh.
Batman games. Like, you just beat you. Like, I thought about this
Mm-hmm.
the other day because it actually be somewhat easier because you don't kill people.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing Nightwing and stuff. You don't kill people. You fight this
Exactly.
guy. Let's say you break his arm or something, or you stealth attack him, right? And then he comes back and he's like, "I found you" or whatever. And like you try to do another stealth attack on him, and it doesn't work because
Yeah.
he got better. I think it'd make the games interesting.
Oh,
And they got to
yeah.
give the grunts some more. Or if he
Mm-hmm.
beats you up, he rises in rank in the gang. Maybe he becomes second in command. Maybe he becomes the leader. They can't do it the same way where if he kills you, because if he kills you, you have to respawn, right? Because you
Yeah, yeah.
can't die. But if he
Well,
like I don't know knocks you out or something, or he just does pretty well against you, he rises up in rank or something.
exactly. Yeah. Well, if he finds out where you are, well, like, because if you're like a guy, if you're a grunt, right, you're a henchman. You know, Batman comes out of the grate and smashes your head. You're gonna, at the very least, you're gonna be checking those grates a few extra times next time. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
or maybe at the most, you're deathly afraid of grates and you don't want to go near them. That would be a cool thing to do too, because not only
Right.
does it work against you, but it might work for you because now these henchmen are like, if I see a gargoyle, I'm not even going near it because last time I did, Batman pulled me out from the darkness and I was hanging for 2 days. Like, I'm not doing this.
Right,
Like,
right.
or maybe
And
yeah.
you could do a lot of stuff with this. Because I remember in
Hmm.
Shadow of War, I was big in the community for a while. Not big in the community like I made videos, but
Yeah,
I was watching a lot of videos on it. And this
you
guy,
into it?
he was like, yeah, I was really into it. So he took like a slave. They have like literally like slaves,
Hmm.
like little like weak slave orcs, and he purposefully let him kill him so that he would keep rising up in rank and become like the overlord of that place. So
Yeah.
he like continuously let the guy kill him and kill him and kill him over again. And it's just like stuff like that. You can't do that in other games. It's like it gives you so much replay value because you don't know what's gonna happen. You could be on your way to another mission, and some dude will pop out and be like, "You killed my brother. Now we have to fight."
Hmm. I mean, because that's
But
what people do. I mean, all the time.
right,
Well, the way that so I just finished the main story in Arkham City New Game Plus, and like a lot of the times you could just kind of sneak past a lot of the henchmen. You don't really have to beat them up, but like that might be like a thing. Like if you sneak past them, that would change it maybe. Or like if you just if you knock out one of them but you leave the last one, that might change it. I don't know if it would be like, oh, so you didn't see him get through, so you're getting demoted, or maybe it would be like, well, at least you survived. I don't know. But like you said,
exactly.
yeah, because with
It'd be
Batman, you
like,
don't even have to worry about the necromancy stuff. He leaves everyone alive. I mean, the whole question of like, oh well, I mean, don't the what like the Gotham healthcare system being, having to deal with dozens of broken arms every night. That's kind of just dismissed. But especially if it takes place over like weeks, unlike the way the games have worked up to this point. If it's like, oh, this is
one
multiple
night.
days this past, yeah, if it's just all one night, that doesn't really make sense. But if it's over the score of weeks, or weeks or months even, then it would certainly make sense, or especially years. But I don't think
Yeah,
that years
you
would
could
make
do it
sense.
like that
Yeah.
because in these games, um, you know, of course your character is like literally dead, and time actually passes. You're
Mm-hmm.
gone. That everybody thinks you're dead. So I mean, well, you technically are dead, but you come back because you're like undead.
Oh,
You
okay.
just come back after a while, but
As one
like
does.
time will pass. Time will pass, so it won't be like, oh, this is one day. It'll be like, oh, it's been. It won't tell you how much time passed, but you could assume it's been like a month or a week or maybe even a year. You could have been battling for a year and you just been gone for a year. And this guy rose up the ranks all because he killed you, or this guy failed the ranks because he got just embarrassed by you.
Yeah, and because those little things in people's careers, they have rippling impacts.
Right. I think it's a good business move. I know I've seen some people shout out my guy Degenerate J. He was talking about he thinks it's bad for gaming. And I guess for gaming as a whole, it's kind of bad, but it's not really because there's not too many other games where I see this kind of system, you know, being implemented. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
you kill the guy's dead, he's not gonna come back and try to fight you. But
Yeah,
or
well,
you kill some random dude's brother, he's not gonna come back and try to fight you. Nobody was really doing it, so they have every right to try to patent it. It's their idea. They
that's
did it.
true. Well,
Yeah.
I don't really know how I feel about intellectual property as a principle, but this is really just the whole intellectual property argument because I can think of this in two different ways, right? So you can think of it as it's intellectual property is bad because, which is probably the guy you were talking about. That's probably the argument he made, which is because certain companies can hoard ideas and this doesn't allow for innovation. So that's the kind of the main one of the main con arguments against it. And one of the main pro arguments
Right.
is, well, why would if companies could just steal, right? If Rockstar or whatever could just take this idea from Warner Brothers games and incorporate that in the next Grand Theft Auto game, then why would Warner Brothers try to innovate if they can't make money off of it for a period of time? They can only make money off of it once. Are they really going to put that much effort into it? Probably not. And so I don't know. I don't really know what the answer is to that. But
Right.
I kind of lean towards your idea because it's like, well, if I make a song, I mean, shouldn't other people shouldn't be able to just copy that song? I think that after like a certain amount of time, like with inventions, it's like 5 years, but for like movies, because of Disney's lobbying and stuff, it's been like 70 years. It's like I don't know if you really deserve the rights to the movie for 70 years.
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy on that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I feel like let's say I created Batman, you know,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be allowed to be like some Marvel writer should be like, oh well, I'm taking Batman. Batman's mine now, and I'm just gonna do whatever I want with Batman. If I
Okay.
created something, I feel like I should, you know, right? I mean,
But what happened? I mean,
it's
isn't
either
Bob Kane
I
dead?
think it's either all. Well, yeah, he's dead, but DC owns Batman, so at this point, it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Well, at some point in time, shouldn't they not?
DC, no, no, they should.
For
Why should they not own it?
Okay, well, let's think about it. Okay, so like,
Well, it's kind of different because Marvel could just come up with the superhero and be like, "Oh, he's Rat Man,"
okay, that's true. Okay.
but no, but it makes no sense
Hmm.
for them to not own Batman anymore.
This,
It's their idea.
this is
Marvel should.
loose
I mean,
Bane.
I think for
Batman.
I think it's kind of different for comic books. Well, I think it's different for characters in
Mm-hmm.
general. Like it should like, you know, if you think Star Wars shouldn't like you think we should just be able to use Luke Skywalker whenever we feel like it. Be like, oh, this Luke, we have Luke Skywalker in our universe, and you just guys are just gonna have to deal with it. I don't think so. You know, that's just, right. I think with characters, that's kind of different though. It's like they're unless they sell the rights to the character, like Shazam or something.
So, do you think that like ideally, like Pinocchio would be an owned product by some company going dating back centuries?
Mm, no, how didn't Pinocchio start as like a folk tale or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
how the
exactly. But
origin. Well, yeah, I
isn't
think places
Batman
like
just
that
like a
is different.
folktale?
No, it started off as a comic book.
Does
That's
does that
different.
make a
I'm not.
fundamental? Okay, so if
Yeah.
I'm telling
Well,
you the
I'm
story with
not
my
passing
mouth
down the.
while I'm writing it
I'm not.
down, is that different?
It's not just writing it down. You're writing it down for the company of DC. You didn't just be like, oh, I'm making Batman now, and this is my independent comic.
Hmm.
That's different.
Okay.
You're DC, you came to DC and you said, "This is my character. This is an idea I have for a character for your company. I'm making this character for your company. I'm making this exclusively for DC."
Mm-hmm.
There's an inherent difference in that. Like the example I brought with Shazam. Shazam was uh he was owned by Charleston Comics or whatever, but it wasn't like that big of a deal. So they were like, it wasn't exclusive to. I mean, he was exclusive to them for a while until DC bought them out.
Mm-hmm.
But if I made an independent comic book character and I would call him um, Black Man,
Black man.
and I think it's different if it's like a folk. I don't know. I think comic book characters are kind of different from folk tales. It's just those are past. You're telling that story from your
So
mom,
like,
passed down generation. You didn't,
mm-hmm.
but like also those characters, you never really have a case where it's an independent comic and it's just that. Like it's just that original character and that's it. You're usually developing it for a company, big or small. So it's kind of different in that regard.
So what about with like so like Sherlock Holmes? The stories are so old that they're in the public domain. Do you think that those should be like? Do you think that the authors of those stories, they should still be like, their descendants should be getting like a royalty for each time somebody makes a Sherlock Holmes spinoff?
I actually think they should absolutely should get a royalty.
Okay, well,
Well, I think that I mean, but royalty is not going to be that much. It's usually like, I mean, not usually, but you know, a 5, 10%. It depends on what you're giving them royalty of anyway. Is it how much the movie just grosses in general, or what are you giving them the royalty of? But I mean,
yeah, I don't know exactly how
um,
royalties work in general, honestly,
I know, but
but
I mean,
hmm.
it's generally not like a big chunk. Like it'll usually be like 5. I mean, it feels like a song or something, maybe 10%, but like 5% is fair. It's never going to be something outlandish like 20. If you're giving away 20% royalties, somebody who didn't even make it, like, what's the point of using the character anyway? Why not
Okay,
use
yeah.
Kurlock Bones or
Like
something?
Bones. I think that there's
Just
like
literally
a
make
yeah.
the same character, but like name him something different. People do it all the time.
That's true. I mean, there's plenty of like Sherlock Holmes, like House MD is just a Sherlock Holmes spinoff. Just
Right.
he's Sherlock Holmes, but he's a doctor. That's pretty much it.
Exactly.
That's pretty much
Just
it.
just
Yeah.
just change it. But with characters, I think it's different. But I guess I can see how it's bad for gaming in general.
Hmm.
I mean, but it's also like it sucks. You should have came up with the idea. That's really tough. But also, nobody's stopping you from doing something similar, but
Hmm.
that's not the exact same. It can't stop you from doing something that's very similar, but
Yeah. Okay.
you can't use the exact same thing. There's a lot of workarounds you could use. You just got to be clever enough. But they shouldn't. I've heard people say that they should only be able to patent the name, which that doesn't make any sense. Then why patent it at all?
Yeah, because then you could right, you just call it. I mean, how far does that go? Is it just like you can have everything the same? It's just Ratman and Rotham and it's Patman and Botham and Potham with Commissioner Borden, and it's just all the same story.
If you like this video, go check out our longer content on this YouTube channel.
What are you doing? Not being subscribed to the Elitist Pizza Podcast on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube? Do it. Now. Give us money.